Future William Tell in your family? Tonight on Arizona Wildlife Views, we'll show you a fun and exciting way kids can discover the world of archery. Maybe something a little more high-powered is your thing. If so, we'll take you to a completely renovated sports center where the clay pigeons are flying high. But in our first story, you'll meet the people and learn about the programs that are hard at work protecting America's national symbol here in Arizona. All that and more right now on Arizona Wildlife Views.
I'm going to ask you to close up towards one another, stand side by side, and I want you to interlock arms. And I want you to, with the beat of the drum, go up and down like this, a little bit forward, a little bit back. Shake your partner's hand. We as a people sometimes don't take adherence to the natural things of life that need just as much room as we do to roam, to fly, to go after food. It is a good day, Creator, Grandfather, Great Spirit.
January 24th, 2007 was a good day indeed for Arizona's bald eagles. One of our nation's greatest symbols received the assurance of continued protection in Arizona when a broad coalition of public agencies and private businesses signed the Bald Eagle Conservation Agreement. This agreement was signed in anticipation of the Department of Interior's decision to remove the bald eagle from the National Endangered Species List. That decision became final on August 8, 2007, when the bald eagle was officially taken off the list and the management of the birds was turned back over to the states.
This document outlines how the department, through its partnerships with the committee, will manage for threats affecting the bald eagle in Arizona. And if we can do that, we'll prevent those threats from happening and hopefully see that population grow as we've seen throughout the past years.
We have in front of us a special opportunity and special privilege. I am proud to be a committee member. To do what we do, to do what the members and the management team does, I think is a great effort to preserve what the average citizen can enjoy, not only for today, but also for the future to come.
But the bald eagle was not always considered the symbol of strength and courage that we see today, at least not by one famous historical figure.
In January of 1784, the elder statesman Benjamin Franklin registered his own disappointment of the bald eagle as our national bird when he stated, "The bald eagle is a bird of bad moral character, like those among men who would live by snaring and robbing. He is generally poor, often very lousy."
Fortunately, Ben Franklin's disdain for the bald eagle was not adopted by the Continental Congress. Back in Franklin's day, bald eagles and other wildlife were plentiful in the United States. In the late 1800s, there were about 250,000 bald eagles nationwide, but that number began to decline when they were hunted for trophies and feathers. However, the deadliest threat occurred during post-World War II with the wide use of pesticides. Accumulation of DDT in bald eagles caused the thickness of their eggshells to be so thin they would fracture, resulting in large reproductive losses. By 1963, there were only 417 breeding pairs left in the contiguous United States. Their decline was so apparent due to their national status that it prompted a lot of subsequent actions that spawned today's environmental movement, including the formation of the Environmental Protection Agency in 1972, and its first order of business was to ban DDT.
The environmental movement spawned another major milestone when in 1973 the Endangered Species Act was passed into law. Under that law, a list of species in danger of extinction or at least headed that direction, was formed: the falcon, the pelican, the bald eagle, as well as a lot of other charismatic species: gray whales, gray wolf, or the great whales, gray wolf, grizzly bear, were among the early members of this unfortunate club. In the lower 48 today, we estimate there are over 7,000 breeding pairs. They nest in every state but Hawaii. And if you add in the number of eagles that have not yet reached breeding age, you add in the populations in Canada and Alaska, I'm sure we're talking of tens of thousands of bald eagles, which is a pretty remarkable comeback considering we were down to very few.
30 years ago, there were only 11 nesting pairs of bald eagles in Arizona. Now there are 43. A recovery plan for Arizona's bald eagles was established in 1982 and managed by the Southwestern Bald Eagle Management Committee. Protection efforts include bald eagle survey flights to assess population numbers and nesting activity, banding of adult and immature bald eagles for identification and to track their activity patterns, and closures at state recreation areas during eagle breeding seasons to minimize intrusions on the nesting pair. But probably the single most effective program for protecting these magnificent birds has been Arizona's Nest Watch program.
The Nest Watch program was initially started in 1978 when two Maricopa Audubon Society volunteers actually monitored a nest at Bartlett Lake. And since then the program has grown and expanded and adopted by the Bald Eagle Management Committee in 1984. Since then, the program has about 20 individuals we contract every year to monitor 10 to 15 breeding areas around the state.
The nest watchers work in pairs and they camp on site so they can keep a constant eye on their charges.
If it's the weekend, we're up watching these eagles, what their activities are, what they're bringing in for food, through the scope from dawn to dusk. If it's during the week, we pretty much walk 5-6 miles in each direction, learning the habitat, what they're bringing in, and to see what prey they bring in and what parts of the habitat they're using.
Jean Carpenter is a nest watcher for a pair of eagles that live along the lower Verde River, and she's been impressed at what good parents the birds are.
For the first 3 weeks of these eaglets' life, they cannot auto-regulate their own heat and cold. And so they're particularly vulnerable, and not only the mother but the father participates, and one of them will always be on the nest, either to brood the young when it's cold, like in the morning or in the evening, or they'll stand and just put their wings out and shade them when it's really hot.
And I think the pinnacle of the success of the Bald Eagle management in Arizona is our Bald Eagle Nest Watch program. Nest Watcher duties include data collection on the breeding pair's behavior so land and wildlife agencies can make informed decisions on projects within the breeding area, public education regarding the sensitive nature of the species during the breeding season, and alert the department when a bald eagle is in a life-threatening situation. Since 1984, this program, the Nest Watch program, has helped save 49 nestlings and give them a second chance.
This fledgling, along with her sibling, were driven from their nest when they were attacked by a swarm of bees. The young eagles ended up on the ground, but the nest watchers were able to run out and get both birds and send them to the Liberty Wildlife Rehabilitation Facility. Unfortunately, one of the birds was too badly injured to be saved. But the other survived, and the people at Liberty Wildlife nursed her back to health and then built up her strength in their flying pen.
Flight therapy is something we do with the larger birds. We have a 60-foot flight, and especially birds that have never flown in the wild have to show us that they can fly a certain number of laps around the cage to get their endurance up. And we watch to see if they're breathing heavily, and we fly them till they won't go anymore, just because we know they need to have that strength.
Facing a bald eagle is an intimidating task.
It was just, she was particularly ornery, and some of us, who will go unnamed, actually did get a little bit intimidated by her, because you could get her to fly 3 or 4 laps and then she just didn't want to go anymore, and she'd stand you off, and she could do it. She had an attitude, which we like. We do like that.
After 4 months of care, she was deemed physically fit, so she was carried to a cliff overlooking the Verde River and set free.
On every release, I have a little bit of anxiety. My fear is, did we do our job right? Is she going to fly? And this one, I don't know, she had such an attitude. I knew she could go, but I will never, ever, ever tire of seeing a release like this, and I've done many of them, and each one seems as thrilling as the last.
Fortunately, the Bald Eagles of Arizona have an umbrella of protection that ensures our national symbol will continue to grow and flourish.
Absolutely, we're continuing the same level of management programs and the same level of protection for the species that we've had while they've been listed as endangered species in their post-listing world. So to us, it really doesn't matter whether they're listed or not, to the sense that we are going to manage the population the same way we have been when they were listed species.
This will always be an intensive managed species. We will never be able to walk away from it to the extent that we can with some other species that just can continue to thrive under benign neglect, so to speak, while we divert our attention to other species that require it at a much higher level. The bald eagle nesting territories in the state, once upon a time, we would have dared to dream that we might have 20. Through discovery, through recovery, through conservation action among all the partners, we have now exceeded 50. Someday, we might have 60.
Raise your right hand. Turn around towards your right. Ho! All my relations. Give yourselves a round of applause.
The line you're at is at the waiting line. You need to be behind there at all times. The next line is the orange line right here. And this line is the shooting line. We are out here at Ben Avery's new youth archery range, and we are running a youth archery camp for kids ages 8 through 18. 2 whistle blasts means get bow.
Archery Camp is a 3-session experience. Day 1 introduces range safety and procedures, getting them familiar with the equipment. The second session gets them into archery fundamentals, and during the third session, they'll be doing some scoring and be familiarized with the Archery in the Schools championship format. While Archery Camp tries to focus on form and fundamentals, not necessarily on the targets themselves, this is a camp and you gotta have some fun along the way. So we put the balloons out at the end of every session just so the kids get the excitement of hitting that target and hearing the balloons pop.
Well, last time I got one, and this time I didn't get any, but I was close to getting one. And I thought that was fun.
They're kind of hard to hit because the wind blows them up everywhere, and the wind makes it harder to hit them.
Another fun exercise is shape shooting.
Go ahead and pull your first arrow, knock it, draw back, get to that anchor point, but you can't release that arrow till you hear either the color or the shape that you're to shoot that arrow. Orange triangle. The shape shooting we do because the kids normally by the second session they're with us start to shoot really fast. There's no holding time and we need them to slow down their shot process. Red square. So in order to do that, we do the shapes and they can't release that arrow until we tell them what shape or color to shoot at.
What they do is they call out a shape in the color. You have to nail that shape. But I wasn't doing very well with the shape. My sister was doing really well with the shapes though.
The shapes were a little bit easier because they're a little bit bigger and wider, but still they do fly up and it's harder with the wind.
So basically all we're getting them to do is shoot at a target that they're unfamiliar with and get them to slow down the shot process.
Getting the kids to slow down their firing gets them to focus on their form.
Basically, we focus on the form primarily because we would like them to learn the right way, not have to correct them as adults and put them in special programs and relearn archery. Target panic is a big issue with a lot of adult archers. They're not taught the right way, unfortunately. So we're trying to sidetrack that, get them started the right way so that we don't have to correct them as adults and they eventually give up archery.
Participants ranged from pure novices to more experienced shooters.
I have some hay barrels in my backyard with a little picture of an elk, and I practice on that. Try to do it every day.
While this particular outing is designed as a 3-day camp, the venue can be adapted to fit almost every need.
It can be molded to whatever venue or time frame we have. This one we did as a 3-week session. We'd like to look at future events for summer camps, homeschool programs that can run as long as 6 to 8 weeks. What we did at Arizona Game and Fish is we developed lesson plans for the Archery in Schools program. However, those lesson plans correlate to any archery venue out there, so they can be utilized in 4-H, Scouts, any kind of youth camp that will be available to them to use those.
All equipment is supplied by the department. The camp provides compound bows, and they're a hit with the kids.
The kids like it because of the colors. It's very colorful. It's not necessarily the camouflage that they would associate with hunting.
And of course, everyone has their favorite color.
Girls like the purples and the greens. And what's unique to this bow is it's designed to fit anyone. The draw length from these are 15 to 30 inches long, so we can have a small child shoot the bow and we can have a full-size adult shoot the bow. And it's very low poundage, it's 10 to 20 pounds, and it's adjustable, so we can make it fit anyone so that they can learn and it's not a struggle.
Of course, participants are invited to bring their own bows and arrows, including the traditional recurve bow.
Well, I did like the compound, but my dad said that this would probably be better for me to learn.
Another very successful part of the archery program is archery in the schools. The goal is to introduce archery to kids at a young age. Each school that desires to participate sends at least 2 teachers to be trained in the basics.
Normally it's the phys ed teachers that will be running the program. The school must agree to run the 2-week curriculum as part of the physical education program. We provide the teachers with the training, and we provide the schools with the state-of-the-art archery equipment, much like the equipment the kids have had the opportunity to use here at this particular event. Once the teachers go through the program, they receive the equipment, they've received the training, and they're ready to go with the 2-week program. Down the road, we hope to see after-school programs develop, and we'd like to see archery be an interscholastic sport once again. And hopefully that will lead into collegiate archery programs being built up back again.
It's an amazing feeling to watch these kids progress.
And we've only had this particular group for 3 weeks, and what's as amazing is that by the second session we could see huge improvements in the kids. They were starting to straighten up, they were comfortable, and they were hitting the target, and the smiles from ear to ear was just priceless. They've come a long way and they pick it up very quickly. That's why we try to promote more than just one event, just one session with these kids, so that we have the time to touch them and they get to experience the enjoyment of archery.
And of course, some become real experts.
We use 3 fingers now in this class to pull it back, and you could use your 1 finger to, like, can I use a demonstration arrow? Sure. Okay. Like the odd range you'd have towards you, and you'd have to put under this little gold ring, and you might want to use this finger to hold it down, and then you'd use 3 fingers, just pull it right back, then you just aim.
This is the knock, and your arrow goes right below it, and it sits on the arm. And your 3 fingers go right below the arrow.
Every kid wants to shoot a bow. I've never met a kid that said, ooh, we're going to do archery. I don't want to do that. They have a natural fascination with it, and they just want the opportunity to try.
As is the case with so many department employees, their occupation is also their passion. Denise certainly follows that example.
I love being with the kids. I love the time I have with the teachers as well, training them and seeing that excitement. A lot of them come in and don't know what to expect, don't know whether they're going to like it or not. And to see them take to archery, get excited about it, and want to take it further is the ultimate reward in this position.
Whether you're an avid shooter or you just like to throw a few clays out behind the barn, you can count on the Ben Avery Shooting Facility to fulfill your clay target needs. The Ben Avery Clay Target Center offers a variety of games for the shotgun enthusiast. We are host to some of the largest shoots in the western United States. Ben Avery Shooting Facility is located just 20 minutes north of Phoenix and nestled at the base of a mountain in the beautiful Sonoran Desert. Ben Avery Shooting Facility is the largest publicly operated recreational shooting facility in the country. Men, women, and children of all ages and experience levels, including beginners, are welcome. Our courteous staff members oversee safety and offer informal coaching when needed. The Arizona Game and Fish Department assumed operation of the Clay Target Center from a private operator in September of 2006. Since then, the department has been making extensive renovations to the facility to better serve our shooting sports community.
When we took over operations of the Clay Target Center and we started in our renovation processes, we actually took on a major task. We took on a task of renovating not only trap houses, skeet houses, all the fields in operation, the clubhouse, the sporting clays facility. We ended up bringing in several resources from around the department, volunteers. We ended up basically taking the facility back down to its bare minimum and then rebuilding the facility from ground up.
Phase 1 of the renovations was the complete refurbishing of 6 easternmost fields of the trap and skeet line.
You know, an interesting thing about the trap houses that we're building out there, the first few were actually pre-formed. We brought them in, we dug some holes and put them right in the holes. And we thought, you know what, we could do this cheaper than getting a pre-formed one. So we started building our own, which took all that rebar, all the cement work that we had to do, all the block work that we had to do, the cutting, and all of that. It was really intense.
Phase 2 of the renovation is almost complete. It includes renovating the remaining 12 trap and skeet overlay fields, in addition to the new electrical system with new lights for night shooting.
We had cement trucks coming in day and night. In fact, we were working day and night with the various skeet houses that we're putting up, the trap houses that were being built. We have them coming in at 2 and 3 in the morning, so we can get stuff done. So in the heat of the day, we're not working out there with the cement, getting that stuff laid out there. We were working real hard getting this place ready.
This project with the CTC ended up encompassing lots of different areas in the construction industry, and it really tasked a lot of people from just the general layman to actual contractors and everything else going into working on our electrical work. The facility itself has never had a major renovation in quite a few years. We trenched the whole facility. It looked like a World War I trench zone out there, and it actually, I don't know what the exact figures are, but it was thousands and thousands of feet of pipe that was laid just to get the trenching and the electrical work in.
There will also be new canopy shades on all trap and skeet fields, refrigerated water fountains, and desert shade trees as well. Targets are presented in many different directions and sizes to simulate different game birds. Most courses have between 10 and 12 stations ranging from 1/2 mile to just under a 1 mile path. The Ben Avery Sporting Clays course layouts are great for beginners or advanced shooters.
We actually went to a system, a card reading system. It's called a pay and play system that actually makes it very user friendly. Anybody can use it. It's a card reader that you just put in. It activates the facility or the machine, and you can actually go out and shoot on Ben Avery without any assistance. So the card system makes it a very user-friendly customer service type of facility.
With its new renovations and ease of use, I'm sure you will come away with an unforgettable shooting experience.
The Ben Avery Clay Target Center is probably one of the best facilities that you'll ever have an opportunity to see and to actually shoot at. The renovations have taken us in light years ahead. We have brand new up-to-date clay target fields that are set to standards. We have brand new machinery that makes the shooting experience out at Ben Avery tops above any place else that you go.
Any participant in any sport that involves the handling and use of any type of firearm must place the highest priority on safety. Safety is everyone's responsibility and can mean the difference between an enjoyable outing and a tragedy. Here are some tips to help keep you and those around you safe. Always treat every gun as if it's loaded. Always keep the gun pointed in a safe direction. Always keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. Always keep the gun unloaded until ready to use. Always know your target and what's beyond. Always know how to use the gun safely. Always be sure the gun is safe to operate. Always wear eye and ear protection.